Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einer weiteren Folge Fate Stay Night Remastered. Ja, Shiro hat, wenn ich mich recht entsinne, was über Projektionen gelernt. Ja, ich glaube, das war sowas. Ich glaube, das war das tatsächlich. And now it's time to prepare dinner. With so much happening these past few days, I thought the whole cooking rotation had gone out of window. But then...
今日の夕食お願いね。今夜もまた冷えそうだし、イリアもいるし、シチューとかいいんじゃない？
She steps out of her room as she speaks. Well, yeah, I guess you would be perfect for Ilya. Maybe it's the hat and coat she wears that make me think that. Whatever the case, I don't have a problem making stew for dinner. I'm no expert at Western dishes like stew, but I don't think I can really mess something like that up. Oh, but before that, it's a little before 6 o'clock. I still have some time before I need to cook. We had training, so I've done my share of sweating today. Seems like now would be a good time to take a bath. Taking a bath before dinner might be a hassle, but Tosaka and Saber usually do it right after dinner, so it would be pretty late by the time it was my turn. The hallway is cold. The heaters have the rooms a nice... Ich bin gerade etwas... Okay, doch. Ja. Ich war gerade nur etwas am Überlegen, ob... Weil das in meiner Facecam so dunkel wirkte. The heaters have the rooms nice and warm. Was ist das hier? Nee. Ah. Nee. Hilft nicht so viel wie erhofft, daher lasse ich es einfach mal. Heaters have the rooms nice and warm, but once I'm out of the hallway I can feel the wintry chill. Fuyuki's winters are typically warm, but the weather has been screwy these past few days. Speaking of cold, it looks like it snowed. I must not have noticed because it's only lasted for less than an hour and didn't snow a large amount. If there had been much snow on the ground, my yard would be packed with an entire army of snowmen, which really sucks to clean up. In that sense, I'm glad it didn't snow much. Of course, the snowman army would be the work of a single person. I can't help but smile as I remember when it snowed last year and her cold, reddened hands gripping the lectern. Huh? I was thinking of taking a shower, but the bathroom is already warm.
Shiro.
I hear something moving in water. I strain my eyes, trying to see the bathtub through the haze of steam. Yup. My mind goes as blank as the white sheets of steam filling the bathroom. Well, my throat closes up, I can't get a word out. My brain stops working, I'm paralyzed. But in the back of my mind I recall something similar happening. Actually, the exact same thing has already happened. Last time I was dressed and Saber wasn't. Not this time. Oh, Saber. The only sound is my own loud gulping. Saber just freezes, watching at me as I stand there dumbfounded. She is going to get mad. Here it comes. I'm going to die. Her soft lips begin to tremble. Any second now, she's going to start yelling. Wichtig dran denken, als das letzte Mal passiert ist, hat Saber das einfach ignoriert, weil sie ja ein Servant ist, weil sie der Meinung ist, doch sowieso scheißegal. Sorry, it's my fault. I was going to use the shower. Well, I didn't think anybody would be using the bathroom at this hour, but yeah, I should have figured it out earlier, but... I ramble out a lame excuse as I step backward, trying to get back to the cleaning room. It's not that I'm gawking at Saber, but for some reason it feel like making a mad dash for the changing room would just make Saber angrier. The truth of the matter is I can't take my eyes off her. I remember the night in the ruins. I recall Saber's warmth, how close it was. Her body was so frail and slender. The heat of our bodies, even our heartbeats mingled, overlapped. At the time, I was just desperate to fix the problem. But now it all feels so tempting. Anyway, we can talk later. I try to reach behind me for the exit. And then...
申し訳ありません、ジロー。勝手な申し出なのですが、今は席を外してもらえないでしょうか。
Saber averts the gaze, her voice oddly muffled. Now I really don't know what to think. I'm not sure why Saber isn't mad. Seeing how embarrassed she looks causes blood to pound in my skull. Why? The words come out before I can stop myself. Saber looks down even more apologetically.
ですから、シャワーを使うのはもう少し後にしてください。この場を一人で使うことを今だけは許してほしい。
Saber shrinks in on herself, hiding her body. And then I suddenly remember. When I ran into her at the changing room last time, Saber didn't say anything. Sex does not matter for a servant. She said that appearances hadn't mattered to her. Oh, well, you see, hold on, I can't find the right words, my head is spinning. Ah, come on, work brain. So you're not mad, Saber?
シローが体を洗うのは当然でしょう。私はそこまでマスターの行動を制限しません。
I get it. Saber doesn't care what she looks like or whether she has clothes or not. That's why it's not weird for me to be here. The bathroom is a place to wash one's body, so my presence isn't strange. It doesn't matter whether Saber's here or not. Knowing that helps, but I have a feeling I'm wrong. So then I don't think it would be a problem if I used the shower right now, you know?
ですから、それは見られることは問題ではないのです。ただ、私の体は凛のように少女のものではありません。ですから。
She blushes even more, tripping over her words.
シローにはあまり見てほしくない。このように筋肉のついた体では殿方には見苦しいでしょう。
She sounds so bashful. I almost faint for just so many reasons. You fool! I would never think that. Saber's body is a long way from unsightly. She says she is rugged, but that has never bothered me. Sure, she is more muscular than Tosaka, but still, I still think Saber is very feminine.
シロー、そういう理由だから一人にしてほしいのですが。
I don't know how I responded. I only remember nodding slightly and pulling the door closed. And so the day ends. Dinner was chaotic. Ilya got chattier with each meal, and she and Tosaka have gotten to this weird point where I'm not sure whether they are fighting or being friendly. Saber has accepted Ilya's presence here, but she hasn't warmed up to her. More than that, Saber gets pretty frowny whenever Ilya gets near me. These past few days have been just plain rough. The normal routine of just a few days ago has devolved into complete chaos. I step silently out into the yard. It's just about time for the calendar to roll over to the next day. I rock beneath the pale light of the moon, leaving faint puffs of white breath in my wake. Next thing I know, I'm at work on my daily routine. I don't really need to train out here since Tosaka is teaching me, but I still sit on the cold ground and check on the things I've been working on for so long. I'm not doing this because I'm worried about my skills. It's more than I find doing it soothing. I've been doing this for years, so just not doing it would feel weird. Trace on. I put even more effort into tonight's training. Tosaka told me not to do it anymore. But I can't just do as she says. If I can master this projection thing, it would mean I could be a lot more helpful to Saber. And then, the heat from earlier is still lingering within me. The night at the ruins. The battle in the forest in the morning mist. The golden sword I created. The residual heat still lingers in my hands. And deep down I find myself hoping I will be able to reignite those flames. Creation, philosophy, appraisal. It's easy to recreate. At the time I was so desperate that my mind was a jumble, but now I can retrace the necessary steps and form my incantation. No. From the very beginning there has only been a single thing that could serve as a trigger for me. The pronunciation is the same, but just by changing my perception of how it is said, it will become something entirely mine, my own original spell. Basic structure, hypothesis. I know very well how dangerous this is. Tosaka doesn't need to remind me. I really have no business getting anywhere near projection magecraft. It's completely beyond me. Venturing so brazenly into a dangerous waters can lead only to death. End of hypothesis. Now instant nothingness. I erase the blueprint that was in my head. A shadow falls across the door. Saber comes in, her frame blotting out the light of the moon.
よかった。ここにいたのですね、シロ。姿が見えないので何かあったのかと。
Oh. No, nothing has happened. I couldn't sleep, so I came here to do some mental exercises. Once I finish, I will head back to my room, so you don't need to worry.
そうですか。ならいいのですが。
Saber focused on my forehead. She can probably see that I'm dripping with sweat. It's always like this, don't worry. Mages have to practice their magecraft. And well, failure comes with the territory for an amateur like me. I wipe the sweat from my brow with the back of my hand. Oh, I'm surprised. My sweat is cold as ice. I thought it was cold, but I don't remember the sheet being quite this cold.
シロ、一日も欠かさずそれを。
Well, yeah, as much as I possibly could. It's a daily routine my old man taught me, so I should at least keep on to it. As soon as I finish speaking, I regret my bluff. I regret telling her this is my daily routine. My intent was to boast to Saber. At the end of the day, my training isn't just some core to me, but it isn't the easiest of tasks either. Saber says nothing. The moon hangs behind her, its light spilling around her frame. The shed plunged into bluest darkness is illuminated by the few shafts of silvery light that make it past Saber. I recall the first night I met her. Saber, Tosaka said something to me. That moment felt just like a dream. Is it true that servants don't dream? I can't stop myself from asking.
ええ、私たちは夢を見ない。もともと幽体であるサーバントは眠りません。私は幽体化ができないため眠らざるを得ませんが、それでも夢を見れません。
But this morning you said... Es war nicht ihr Traum, den sie geträumt hat. There's a brief silence. She closes her eyes, then, apparently having made up her mind.
私が見たものはあなたの夢です。マスターとサーバントは精神的にもつながっている。結びつきが強くなれば相手の過去を垣間見ることもあるでしょう。
Genauso wie Shiro auch schon Sabers Erinnerungen erlebt hat. You dreamed of my past? Oh.
あなたの心に踏み入る行為だとは分かっていたのですが、私には拒むことができなかった。それをどうか許してください、シロ。
Oh, sie hat Schuldgefühle auch. Oh, wie süß. Aus verschiedenen Gründen. Don't. I did the same thing. Saber's past. I've seen several scenes from her life before she became a servant now. Don't be silly, that's not your fault. You can't help what you dream about. And I have to apologize too. My past is pretty boring. Seeing something that boring probably makes you not want to have to sleep.
いえ、夢を見たのは今朝だけです。 それも最近のことではありませんから、シロの男性としてのプライベートを侵害するようなことは決してありません。
Oh. Saber is that serious about that warning. But privacy, well, yeah, sure. I've done my share of dumb things. That is a relief, but if you're saying you didn't see any recent memories, then how far into the past did you see?
大きな火事でした。
Yup.
私が見たものはその光景だけです。
Nein, das ist nicht alles, was sie sah. Her voice is quiet. Her gentle gaze tells me what she saw. Oh. Ooh. That dream. I see. Well, I don't know what to say. Should I say it was unfortunate? It's like going to a movie theater expecting to see a movie you know, but you somehow end up in the wrong theater and end up getting a completely different show.
それでわかりました。いいえ、前から思ってはいたのです。あなたにはひどく危ういところがあると。
Huh? What do you mean, dangerous? Well, yeah, I'm sure the odds are plenty stacked against me, from your point of view.
そんな意味ではありません。あなたは、シロは私と似ています。だから、あなたの間違いもわかる。
Ja.
このまま進めばどうなってしまうかも、同じだから分かってしまう。
Der Weg der Selbstaufopferung bis zur endgültigen Selbstzerstörung. I don't think I've made any mistakes. Sure, I've failed plenty of times, but my goal is to be a champion of justice, like my old man. A goal like that can't be a mistake, no way.
だから、それが間違いなのです。
Ja.
シロ、あの事故はあなたのせいでもないし、その責任はあなたが負うべきものでもない。あなたには償うべきものなどないのです。
That is obvious. It was just an accident, and I was just a victim. Sure, I may be dealing with survivor's guilt.
以前、リンが言っていました。シローの自己犠牲と献身ぶりは異常だと。それ、あなたは自らの命を代価として人を助けようとするのではない。あなたは単に、初めから自分の命が感情に入っていないのではないですか。
Ja. Maybe my pupils have dilated. I'm not sure why, but I can't seem to focus on Saber's face.
あの事故を忘れることはあなたにはできないでしょう。ですが、覚えている限りシローは変わらない。それは苦しいのではないですか。
Painful for me? Well, yeah. That is painful. Saber doesn't have to remind me of that. It is obvious. So many people died, it was about absolute hell. Something like that causing you pain is only naturally. And besides, if I didn't feel that, it might all be meaningless. Yeah, you're right, it is painful to remember. But it is in the past now. There's nothing I can do about it. Saber doesn't answer. Instead, she claws at her arm in frustration.
私は聖杯を手に入れなければならない。けれど、それはシローにも当てはまる。
Saber?
シローには聖杯が必要だ。私があなたに呼び出されたのは必然だったのです、マスター。
I don't know how to respond to that.
先に眠ります。シローもあまり無茶はしないように。
Saber leaves. I fold my arms and think. Do I need the Holy Grail? A vessel that grants wishes to its possessor. A vessel which contains unlimited quantities of magical energy, for which it is said nothing is impossible. Where I too get it. It could easily grant my wish. No, that's wrong. No matter how I look at it, I don't need the Holy Grail. Nope, I definitely don't need it. Because I don't have any wishes that can't come true, or hope for anything that is impossible. I wouldn't have a dream if it weren't something I could attain myself. The night grows darker. In the familiar old shed, lit only by the moon, I listen to the distant wind. Yep, save the game. So, jetzt sind wir am Tag 13 Infinity Arms. The sky is grey, the hill crimson with corpses. The heavy clouds drift away, heralding the battle's end. I know the scene. I have seen it so many times now. This is one of Saber's battles. She fought and won so many victories. Scenes like this are almost commonplace for her. Afterwards, she will return to her castle, where her victory will be praised and celebrated. Then she will prepare for the next battle. This is just life for her. It is only one of the 12 great battles she fought. And so, she does not truly remember victory, so much as she just accepts it as a fact. I think she is misguided. This is not a dream. It is just a cold reality, her past that can't be changed. The moment she drew the sword, she stopped being human. She took over for her father as a feudal lord and became a king with many knights. She was known as King Arthur and Altria. The life of the girl who once aspired to be a knight changed so radically. No, was forced to end her life as she knew it might be a better way to put it. In that instant, the girl who still had such childlike features ceased to be, and became the king of knights. She acted like she was the king's son. The ruler of territories and knights had to be male. Only her father and the mage knew the king was female. She covered herself in iron and hid that truth for the rest of her life. I don't know why I never realized the implications until now. As much public exposure as she had, she managed to pass herself off as a male the whole time. The sheer suffering she likely endured must have been incredible, but the simple observer could never really understand. Time passes. 10 years worth of memories as king. And there was only one common thread that entire life. Even when she is on the throne. Even when she is walking through the hallway. Even when she is on the battlefield. Not a soul spoke to her. Even the round table, filled as it was with knights boasting of their valor, always fell silent the moment the king appeared. So that's what it meant. She was merely tolerated as an idol. Many knights looked down on Altria, with her boyish appearance, and were ultimately not comfortable in trusting her with their blades. But because she managed to draw the sacred sword that no one else could, they had to obey, even if only to keep up appearances. They just accepted the disgrace and believed it would pass. Sacred sword or no, the king was merely a child. Even with Merlin's support, the king would surely fail eventually. When that happens, they need only take the sacred sword from her and select a new king. That is probably what most of the knights thought. But that is not how it went. The knight, only just reaching adulthood, was a flawless king. She enforced peace among the squabbling lords and fought off invaders as well. Of course, this wasn't due to the sacred sword's power. The sacred sword only protects the king. The king, on the other hand, protects the nation. And through her deeds, she was able to maintain the control of her knights. The sacred sword protects her only from her enemies, and does nothing to to help her hold sway over the hearts of her subjects. She worked herself to the bone to be the ideal king to all. At that point, the knights had no choice but to obey. They held the dissatisfaction for the young king in check because the king was truly perfect. She strived to be an ideal king. The only condition for the knights' support was that the king be exactly that, the ideal king. There was no room for Altria to be a human being. She could be a king, and only a king. The peerless knights who drew the sacred sword, who stopped aging from that moment and who went on to win 12 great wars. The more perfect she became, the more people stayed away from her. As this continued, the king grew more and more isolated. That was who she was. But she did well. In fact, she did too well. She defeated her enemies and minimized her own side's casualties. No matter the battle, sacrifices must be made. So she believed it was her duty to make sacrifices, to bolster her army, and to defeat the enemy without wasting lives. She would strip the resources from one village to prepare her army, then defeat the invaders before they could strike her land, saving perhaps 10 villages. That was the king's approach, and it proved the best strategy at the time. But the knights must not have been happy. To them, only the foreign invaders should have died, and the only true victory is made without any such sacrifices. There shouldn't be any need to sacrifice a territory before battle. They were going to win regardless, so the sacrifices were pointless. There wouldn't be any sacrifices, so the king's actions were waste. It was, of course, total nonsense. Once battle began, the knights spared not a thought for those little villages. No one thought twice about trampling the villages. Protecting them was never a consideration. The knights claim there's nothing to be done when the enemy destroys such villages, but to let them be destroyed is a great crime. Obviously, she knew that. But a king cannot worry about their personal feelings. She had to kill her emotions to make her decisions, and her knights had to suppress their own feelings to obey. And so sacrifices are made, and that string of victory stabilizes the nation. And in return, animosity for the king grew. King Arthur just doesn't understand how people feel. So one knight was here to say as they left to the castle. What a ridiculous story. She was expected not to be human, but they hated her precisely because she didn't have human emotions. The age of war continued. The animosity of the knights who had been dissatisfied with the king only grew more so after that knight left. They forced her to deal with every foreign and domestic enemy in hopes of pushing her over the edge. Collapse was imminent. If these many problems confronting the nation were never resolved, it would crumble. Even if all of them were to be resolved, what awaits is more of the same, but that did not concern the king. Even should she be abandoned, feared or betrayed, she will remain steadfast. Because she had long since made up her mind. She abandoned her emotions the moment she decided to draw the sword. This happened long, long ago. Knights from across the nation gathered to try to draw the sword from the stone, but none of them could do it. And the knights instead showcased their skill on horseback, eager to crown the best among them king. The knights flocked to the arena in droves. The sword and the stone lay outside forgotten. From afar it looked more like a festival. Even in the distance, the sound of valiant cavalrymen clashing is audible. The knights clashed in the distance, and the rock lay forgotten. What was going through the girl's mind as she stood in front of the rock? Before she realized it, an unknown mage stood behind her.
それを手に取る前にきちんと考えた方がいい。
He tries to stop her for her own god.
それを手にしたが最後、君は人間ではなくなるよ。
He also warned her that many would hate her and that she would die a gruesome death. She must have been terrified. The mage showed her the future. He showed her the end she would meet if she drew the sword. That sword.
Yeah.
It only made her all the more determined. Even after seeing that future, she only gave a firm nod. The mage asked again if that was what she wanted.
多くの人が笑っていました。それはきっと間違いではないと思います。
She took the sword in her hand. The mage looked troubled and turned away.
奇跡には代償が必要だ。君はその一番大切なものを引き換えにするだろう。
He departed with those prophetic words. That's his right. She just wanted to protect everyone. But to do so, she had to abandon her desire to protect people. She cannot protect her country as its king if she still has a human heart. Even knowing this, she drew the sword. Even knowing this, she vowed to live as a king. So no matter what happened, she will remain steadfast. She abandoned her human heart. She was willing to give that up to protect her nation. Who could have known the girl made such a noble oath?
戦うと決めた。
Come with May, and however might end.
それでも戦うと決めたのだ。
Even if an inevitable solitary doom awaited her. And her end did come. The Battle of Camlan. King Arthur set out on a campaign, and one of her knights usurped her throne, splitting the nation in two and sparking a terrible conflict. Legend has it that this battle brought an end to knighthood and chivalry. She killed every knight who once served her and invaded the land she had fought to defend. All the knights who followed her were gone, and her own body lay injured and immobile. There was no one left around her. As ever, nothing has changed. All she had in her heart was the pride of a king. She had known about this ending. Still, she believed there was something to be gained from this failure, which is why she kept fighting without ever failing or disgracing herself. She had not regrets. If she were to have one, it would be seeing her nation in ruin. She raised her gaze. Maybe she would be able to see her castle in the distance from his hill. She saw only the aftermath of the battle, a dense forest and a lake to which she must return. That is right. The hill she had meant to charge over has become a wall she can't climb. Strength left her body. For the first time she loosened her grip on the sacred sword. And that's where it ended. It was only natural that the dream wouldn't end here, since there's nothing beyond that moment in her memories. And that is why this cannot be rewritten. She worked so hard and she was resented, betrayed. Nobody understood that she loved her people more than her nation. She came to be known as a merciless king. She was never rewarded or understood. On top of the crimson-stained sword-strewn hill, the girl sat on the edge of death, isolated and betrayed. Und ich würde dann sagen, an dem Punkt beende ich dann diese Folge. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal. Ciao.